everyone, let's take a look at prime factorization. So in my previous video, we discussed the difference between prime numbers and composite numbers. So just to refresh your memory, prime numbers only have two factors, one and that other number. The first 5 prime numbers are important to know when we do something called prime factorization. So what are the first couple of primes? 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, etc. These are primes. Okay, I'm going to keep that up there so that when we do prime factorization, we can always see the prime numbers. So prime factorization is when we take a number and we break it down as a product of all of its prime factors. So let's take a look at an example. We'll start with a smaller example, a smaller number. Let's look at the number 12. 12 is composite, which means it has more than just two factors. So we can break that number down. What multiplies to make 12? Prime factorization is all about multiplication and division. What numbers can we multiply to make 12? Well, we have a couple of options. We can have 1 times 12, but with prime factorization, that won't get me anywhere. If I break this down with 1 and 12, I still have a 12, which is where I started. So we're not going to use 1 in the number. But what else makes 12? 2 times 6 and 3 times 4. I'm actually going to show you both ways to show you that it doesn't matter which pair of factors you choose, you'll get the same answer. So let's start with 2 times 6. I usually write the number that is less on the left and the number that is greater on the right. Let me make that times sign a little bit larger. So 2 and 6 are factors of 12. Now, anytime I get to one of my prime numbers, I stop and I circle that number. Because remember, prime factorization, we are taking a number and writing it as a product of its primes. Well, 2 is a prime number, so I need that number. I have to hold on to it. What about 6? No, 6 is not prime. 6 is composite, which means I can break that 6 down a little bit more. So let's break down the 6. What are the factors of 6? 1 and 6, but I'm not using that here. 2 times 3. So I put 2 and 3. Now wait a minute. Remember that 2 is prime, so I stop and I circle it. What about 3? 3 is also prime, so I stop and I circle my 3. Now I have nothing left to break down. So that means I'm finished with 12. I just need to write out its prime factorization. So all of those prime numbers that we circled, we need to write out. I like to write them out in order from least to greatest. I have 2 times 2 times 3. Check your work. When I multiply this, I should get the number I started with. Well, 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 3 is 12. So my prime factorization of 12 is 2 times 2 times 3. Now I want to show this to you using a different set of factors to start with to prove that we'll still get the same answer. So what else multiplies to make 12? 3 times 4. 3. Can I break it down? No, because it's prime. So I stop and circle. How about 4? Can I break it down? I sure can. 4 is made up of 2 times 2. And remember, 2 is a prime number. So we stop and we circle it. Now let's check to see if we have the same primes circled. I have a 3, check. And I have 2 2s, check, check. So you can see that if you break down a number with different factors, as long as you do it correctly, you'll get the same prime factorization. All right, let's look at one more example. Let's do the number 50. Now 50 is composite, which means it has more than 2 factors. So let's think of different factors of 50. There's quite a few. It ends in a 0, so I can divide 50 by 10. 5 and 10 are factors of 50. I can also divide 50 by 2. 2 times 25 gives me 50. So pick whichever factors you're more comfortable with. I'm going to choose 5 and 10. 5 and 10 are factors of 50 because 5 times 10 is 50. 5. 5 is prime, so I circle it. 10 is not prime, it's composite. I can break 10 down a little bit more. So what numbers multiply to make 10? We're not using 1 times 10. 2 times 5. 2 is prime, so I circle it. And remember, 5 was prime, so I circle it. So the prime factorization of 50, remember, let's write these in order from least to greatest. 2 times 5 times 5. And then double check. 2 times 5 is 10, and 10 times 5 is 50. So we know we got it correct. All right, I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.